We'll be back from the break and we're getting into Karibu, East Africa. Here we look at stories that are making business headlines across the region, the entire region of East Africa. We do have 7 countries so far in the East African community now, and as we go through, we give you all the updates that are coming in from some of these particular member states, and that is exactly where we start from. As from our neighbors in Kenya, the Kenya Revenue Authority has a statement on cryptocurrencies, as the bill sets up KRA tax dragnet for 4 million cryptocurrency users in the country. The Revenue Authority in Kenya will go after the more than 4 million Kenyans who own cryptocurrencies if MPs approve changes to the law aimed at regulating and taxing the fast-growing digital currency trend. This is a trend that is not usually taxed, if you're to look at this. Now, from the Karibu, East Africa, when you look at the Capital Markets Amendment Bill of 2022, seeks to introduce taxation of the crypto exchanges and digital wallets and imposes transaction taxes akin to excise duty charged on bank transactions. Banks deduct 20% excise duty on all commissions and fees which are charged on transactions. On the other hand, Kenyans will pay the Kenya Revenue Authority capital gains for the increased market value of the crypto when they sell or use the digital currencies in a transaction if the bill is approved. Furthermore, those who have made trading in cryptocurrencies a business are likely to be liable for income tax on their earnings. This would mark the first time Kenya will bring cryptocurrencies mainstream and extend regulations to the dealings in the digital currencies. Now, also, the sector is not regulated in the country and remains largely unregulated even in the developed world. This makes it difficult to establish the value of digital assets held by mostly tech-savvy Kenyans, but the amount could run into billions of Kenyan shillings. So Ugandans have also had that issue of seeking for regulation into cryptocurrencies.
Because very many people have been ripped off.
Yes. Now, the funny part here in Kenya is now the cryptocurrencies are going to be taxed. So the KRA wants to tax these crypto assets as well, these digital assets.
Well, maybe that will limit some of the cases we have seen that have caused lots of losses on specific individuals. Maybe, I'm just thinking, maybe that will help at a point.
I want to hope that the people who will be regulating these cryptos also understand the space, because the digital space is a bit tricky.
Very tricky.
It really needs someone who is, like they've highlighted here, tech savvy, for you to understand how these trends move about. And in Uganda here also, it is not official to trade with cryptos, but still,
it's happening.
It's happening. People are already trading with the cryptos, but the regulation is yet to be approved by the Bank of Uganda. But then we have individuals who are already dealing in cryptos, trading in cryptocurrencies, different coins and all that, the bitcoins and what have you. But now for the sector in Kenya, which is not yet regulated, is apparently may face scrutiny if Parliament in Kenya makes changes towards the Amendment Act, the Capital Markets Amendment Act, to ensure that Kenyans now start paying some taxes, those who are actually dealing in cryptos. What do you have with you, Shetal?
Well, we cross over to our neighbors, that is in Tanzania as well, and we are talking about the game-changing role of SMEs in Tanzania's economy. Now, do note that Tanzania's economy has been majorly known to be agricultural, but the economy is steadily moving away from agriculture in an evolution that is all too common throughout the history of global economies. And what's not very clear, however, is the cause it is now charting. Now, due to some very obvious factors, the economy seems stuck in murky waters. The right direction would have been to move more towards services domain. Now, but that is not exactly what is happening due to inadequate infrastructure, and we're talking about both hard and soft. Now, the current well-connected road network has come somewhat too late. Its full potential has been curtailed by the dysfunctional intermodal logistical chain as a result of unreliable railway services and inefficient ports. It will take years for the standard gauge railway to become fully functional and for ports efficiency to improve. The digital economy has not picked up as it should have, and this is This is because of the little investment in the core infrastructure, mostly in rural areas, shortage of well-trained IT human resources, talk about slow adoption of digital technologies, also that is in the economy, then talk about low internet access and dismal spending power. Now the digital gap remains wide, making e-commerce quite a challenge. The major successful story, mobile money, faces constant disruptions of unpredictable fiscal policies. And while Tanzania's northern neighbor Kenya has been able to move swiftly to the services economy driven mainly by the financial and telecommunications sector, Tanzania hasn't, and its huge natural resources base seems to be a trap. And that is what is happening in Tanzania right now. This is what we call the struggle.
So much to talk about here. I think when they compare Tanzania to Kenya, where they're actually saying the financial and telecommunication sectors are pushing this SME sector wide, and at least it's expanding. I think we also have the same challenge here. Oh, very few, but I think here some of our SMEs are already adopting to the digital age.
They are trying, and we are still in the kicks. We're still trying. You know how a kid is trying to stand up on the fall and stuff like that. That's the stage where we are trying. Hold on to this, hold on to that, to see how we grow as an economy. But Tanzania and Uganda have a lot in common.
I actually thought they are a bit faster.
No, apparently Kenya is faster than.
Yeah, Kenya does look to be very faster than
Actually,
us.
even when you talk to the Kenyans, they will tell you, no, these two countries, no.
I've seen those Twitter wars between Ugandans and Kenyans.
Yes.
And once it comes to the professionalism and the currency levels, we are completely hit.
We are hit. We just have to be quiet.
and so when you look at some of these lessons that we need to learn a lot from these two countries, mainly Kenya, because when you look at Tanzania, some of the challenges Tanzanians are facing are some of those that we are facing. There may be some bit of differences in how we encounter our challenges, but I think it's like the same thing anyway.
It's almost the same thing.
And for the Tanzanian SMEs,
they should have been doing better, because we are a landlocked country, they are not.
Very true.
But if you're talking about inefficient ports, that means there is a problem.
And yet they also handle some of our...
Thank you. So
I think the Tanzania Ports Authority would clearly have a lot to say regarding this matter. We do have at least a voice from the Kenyan Ports Authority who are ensuring that there is a lot of safety of cargo and technology, is high levels of technology at the port of Mombasa, which is making it very easy for even the traders in Kenya to at least access their goods in time, containers, cargo, even cargo movement in Kenya, very fast. I think it's because Kenya's got, I don't know, it is the strongest economy in the region.
Yes, for now.
Yes, for now. Maybe later on Uganda may overtake fast.
Never know.
But in Tanzania, that's it from there, regards to the side of the SMEs. And lastly, from Karibu, East Africa, we head to Rwanda, as the industrialist report has seen growth as Rwanda 6 more manufacturers. When you look back 15 years ago, Master Steel was only making iron sheets, but currently it is producing over 10 items of construction materials, Master Steels in Rwanda. Now, and almost quadrupled its initial production as Rwanda's housing needs have been growing, according to the company sales and marketing manager Konstantin Rugaba made the disclosure while speaking to the New York Times, where he was saying that Rwanda held the celebrations to mark Africa Industrialization Day last week in Kigali. He did say that the factories making construction materials have registered huge progress for the country, especially in line with the development of the country, where there are many infrastructures or projects that should be executed. He indicated that Master Steel, which is a local firm mainly engaged in steel construction material production, produces about 20,000 tons of construction materials per month, which is about 4 times more than its initial production of about 5,000 tons in 2007, which was there. Now, the company started with iron sheets, but it gradually diversified products, as it included tubes, metallic open profiles, window frames, nails, water pipes, among other items. Now, it also pointed out that all that implies on the expansion of the factory and investment. That is more of the elaboration that was made. Meanwhile, in the agro-processing sector, Martin Kabasi for the Africa Improved Foods, say that before the AIF, that is the Africa Improved Foods, came into existence in 2015 through a public-private partnership with the government of Rwanda, there was a joint venture with the World Food Programme, which was used to procure food for relief from Europe. Now, according to the GDP and the National Accounts 2021 by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, the country's GDP was estimated at over 10.9 million Rwandese franc in that year. So Rwanda's manufacturing sector now, yeah, that was in 2021. Rwanda's manufacturing sector still also giving us a lot to talk about here in Uganda. How about ours? Because we're also having an issue with the manufacturing sector. We want to at least have, because at least we shall judge ourselves on the exports of manufactured goods.
Well, one thing I can say is what Rwanda has tried to do is be strategic.
True.
I've tried to look at some of the trends it follows when doing certain things. You realize it's a very strategic country in terms of where they invest,
yes,
what they invest in, and which area they emphasize. And because of that, you're definitely going to see steady growth for this country. And you wouldn't be shocked if you get to a point and it's even way better than some of the big countries. I mean, it's a small state. It's a small country, I mean. And then again, the fact that its currency is even if it's slight, but it's stronger than the Ugandan currency. It's interesting. You go to a country, it's very small, it's very organized and all that, but its currencies, yet you expect Uganda got independence earlier and stuff like that. Should be in a better place, unfortunately.
When you talk about being very strategic, it takes me back to the deal that Rwanda has for their tourism. They're investing in football clubs in Europe, where they have a Visit Rwanda logo onto
the Arsenal
jersey and the PSG jersey. So most people are saying that has been a very huge investment for Rwanda's tourism. But not only that, they are already receiving returns of that investment.
Right, because strategic. You realize for you have to be out there, as a country.
Yes, to preach what you're actually having. And I think Rwandese are very fast moving than the Ugandans in terms of marketing and all that. So
let's go to our leaders.
Yes, indeed.
It does.
Because most of the Ugandans are asking, what should the Ugandan government do to
because
see the tourism sector?
I cannot walk up to Arsenal football club.
Very true.
And I have this deal. But it's now the leaders and the government to sit and think, how do we put Uganda out there? And the problem is, Uganda is very well endowed with a lot. We have so much to give to the world, a lot to give to the world. When you go to some of these countries, the doctors they bring for you as specialists. Kenya, for example, they bring for you Uganda, for example. If they realize you're from Uganda, they'll most probably bring you a Ugandan expert. You understand? We have so much to give.
And we're not called the Pearl of Africa for nothing, I should say. So we need to actually live the talk that we have
Our
as a
leaders.
country.
Thank you for understanding.
Besides that, now let's get into the SMB international news. And with the international news, we start with the United Kingdom as the new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak rolls out the deal that relies on the European Union law alignment. The UK will not pursue any post-Brexit relationship with the EU that relies on alignment with the EU laws, according to the Prime Minister. And it follows reports that some in government want to move towards a Swiss-style deal with less trading friction and more migration. Switzerland can trade easily with the bloc, but must follow some European Union rules. Then Sunak told business leaders that the control of migration was one of the immediate benefits of Brexit. Speaking at the CBI conference in Birmingham, he said he voted for Brexit and he believes in Brexit. He argued that the United Kingdom was now able to have proper control of their borders. He also said that the United Kingdom was free to pursue trade deals with the world's fastest growing economies. And over the weekend, the Sunday Times in the United Kingdom reported that senior government figures were considering pursuing a Swiss-style deal. The government and its ministers, as well as Downing Street, have denied the story, but it still prompted concern from some Brexit supporting Conservatives former Minister Simon Clarke, who tweeted that they very much hope and believe that this isn't something under consideration. They set up the question of leaving the European Union definitely in 2019, and Lord Daffet Frost, who negotiated the existing deal, said he hopes the government thinks better of these plans. Now, Switzerland is not a member of the European Union, but does have several agreements with the trading bloc and has access to the single market for most of its industries. It also pays into the European Union budget and has freedom of movement, meaning that the European Union citizens can live and work in the country. Last week, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt said he hoped the United Kingdom would be able to remove trade barriers with the European Union, but added that it would take some time. So ever since the United Kingdom decided to get off the European Union, some of the government officials feel they should be back into the organization. I don't know if here in Uganda we can be independent to get off the African Union.
Well, for unity's sake, I wouldn't actually recommend getting off the African Union, because there is a lot of value we can get. And if some of these countries feel like they can do alone, maybe they can, but there is more value we can get from being together, from unity. There is more value we can get, because if you are, for example, for the East African community, for example, if you are talking about free trade and free movement of goods and services across borders, then you wouldn't want to cut that off. So if we were looking at a broader picture economically, maybe we shouldn't think about exiting.
Yeah. I think for us, we are gaining more from it.
We would be gaining
the East
more
African
from it.
Community bloc, COMESA, where we should be benefiting from this. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think the word is should be.
Yeah.
Away from that, let's go into Malaysia. Now, the Malaysian currency stocks fall as a vote ends in hung parliament now. Malaysia's stock market and currency dipped after the national election produced the Southeast Asian nation's first hung parliament, and setting off a scramble to form a coalition before yesterday afternoon's deadline. Now, the ringgit fell almost 0.8% against the US dollar. The US dollar, that is early mornings yesterday, before recovering to be down 0.1% as markets weighed the possibility of an extended period of political instability. Malaysia's national election on Saturday failed to produce a clear winner, with neither the Pakatan Harapan, that is PH, nor the Perikatan Nasional coalition securing the required 112 seats to form the government. Now, the PH, led by opposition, that is Anwar Ibrahim, won 82 seats, while PN, led by former Prime Minister Yassin, secured 73 seats. Both Anwar Ibrahim and Yassin have claimed to have enough support among legislators to form a new government, and Malaysia's King Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmed Shah on Monday, which was yesterday, extended by 24 hours a deadline for legislators to notify the palace of their preferred government shortly before the original deadline was set to expire, that was by 2 p.m. Malaysia, an ethnically diverse nation made up of Malay majority along with significant communities of ethnic Chinese and Indians, has been gripped by political instability since PH won a historic victory in the 2018 election, ending the 60-year rule of the Barisan Nasional Coalition. And that is what is happening in Malaysia. Well, we do understand and note that when it comes to politics, it will affect very many aspects of a country and people's lives.
And when you also look at the fact that they're in two elections, I think also in Africa here, once we're in election times, first of all, there's always a huge situation of being scared here. I remember when Kenya was just going to do the Kenyans were holding elections in August, we were scared about any post-election violence,
which we have seen before.
Yes, because we're still looking. We have some. I think we have some trust issues as Ugandans, I should call it, or Africa.
Thank you. The word is Africa.
Africa, because every time we are into an election, whether it's going to end peacefully, we always have that projection of
the paranoia of what if it doesn't.
What if it doesn't?
Well, we haven't seen better in some cases.
Yes.
Most of the times, elections in different countries do not end well, and that has an effect on the day-to-day lives of the people, and especially financially.
Yes, financially. And when it comes to Kenya, the last time they had post-election violence, I think Ugandans faced the pinch more.
We faced it
like
more.
as if we were voting for the Kenyans at that time. But also, I think it also goes back to the kind of democracy we have in Africa, where someone does not accept defeat in any way. Whether you've lost barely, you feel like, no, I've not lost this.
Do you remember after the former president of the U.S. Barack Obama decided to like, I'm done with my terms.
Yes.
I need to get out of office, and someone else takes over. And some Africans are saying, this is not a true African.
Yes.
A true African wants like 2 more terms or 3 more terms.
Because they know in Africa someone needs
want to stay in the power. Yes.
In power. Most of the governments in Africa, by the way, you will realize most of the leaders are 2 terms, 3 terms, not even 2. I think most of them have so far ruled for 20 years. I think that is the reason as to why we have that at the back of our minds. Now, lastly, from the international news, we head to the United States, as there is a collapsed FTX, which owes nearly $3.1 billion to top 50 creditors in the country. Now, the cryptocurrency exchange FTX, which has filed for U.S. bankruptcy court protection, said it owes its 50 biggest creditors nearly $3.1 billion. So the exchange owes about $1.45 billion to its top 10 creditors. It did say this in a court without naming them. Now, FTX and its affiliates filed for bankruptcy in Delaware on November 11th in one of the highest profile crypto blowups, leaving an estimated 1 million customers and other investors facing total losses in the billions of dollars. The crypto exchange said that it has launched a strategic review of its global assets and it's preparing for the sale or reorganization of some businesses. Now, a hearing of FTX's so-called fast day motions is set for Tuesday morning today before a U.S. bankruptcy judge, according to a separate court filing. Now, the FTX rapid collapse marked a stunning downfall for one of the biggest and most powerful players in the crypto industry. There could be more than 1 million creditors in the U.S. cases that are already filed. Now, FTX Group said, adding that it has been in touch with dozens of U.S. and international regulatory agencies, including the United States Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Meanwhile, on the other hand, authorities in the Bahamas, where FTX is based, are investigating whether any criminal misconduct occurred related to the company's implosion. The Royal Bahamas Police Force said in a statement last Sunday that the Bahamian authorities have also taken control of cryptocurrency assets held by FTX Digital Markets. The Bahamas Best FTX unit that filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy protection did reveal. Now, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas announced Thursday night that it had directed the transfer of all digital assets of FTX Digital Markets and that those assets are being transferred to a digital wallet controlled by the Bahamas regulator for safekeeping. Now, as we are summing up with this one, I think this is one of the reasons as to why we are still scared of engaging engaging in digital currencies. Because it comes with a lot of losses.
Well, if countries like the US are still struggling with it, how about Uganda?
Where are we still struggling with even minor cases, then how about the financial cases here? I think
financial cases, digital cases, we are still not at there. We are still not there.
But hopefully it's something we're moving in, we're transitioning, I believe, we as a country, and surely enough when the government gets to regulate the digital currencies, the cashless. I think we are moving to the cashless economy. I don't know how ready we are, but according to cases on the cash, with people who are actually doing cashless transactions, you realize we have some smart boys in the country who are actually
You've heard about the banks that have been
losing money to fraud.
Yes.
Yes. And also just recently, the telecommunication company Airtel also lost the same amount.
And this wasn't the first time it was losing it. Yes.
And Ugandans are losing a lot of money due to that particular fraud over the internet. Well, that's it for Karibu East Africa and the SMB International News. At 8 a.m. we're getting to the third hour of the show, I should say, as we give you more updates coming in from the world of business. I'm here with Chantal to take you through the business world. Just a quick one, do follow us on Facebook, Smart24 TV Official. Twitter is Smart24 TV. Instagram is Smart24_TV. Then the website is www.smart24.tv. Do remember to also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Smart24 TV Live. Good morning.